What's up, guys? Jeremy Clark here, doing a video on using the money zone with Bookmap for some of my fellow bear bull traders. And specifically, I'm going to talk about market profile and volume profile and how I'm using those in Bookmap. So I have TradingView open here, and I'm just looking at the session volume and the market profile. So this right here would represent one range or one day's session. Let's see, I'm just going to pull up a arrow here. Okay, so one daily session. We've got the volume profile set to the right side. So this right here would be yesterday's volume profile. This is the area where volume traded the heaviest. And right here you can see this was the point of control, or the volume point of control right here. This is where price traded the heaviest throughout the session in terms of volume. Now then, this right here is the price action. And you can see this is the price action point of control. Up here, this is value area high, value area low. So price traded the heaviest. About 70% of price action happened right here along the point of control. And this is this blue line that extends out from the longest point. And so this gets set onto your current day, and you can compare how your current day's volume, which is this right here, is comparing to your yesterday. So this is yesterday's volume, yesterday's price action, today's volume. Okay. So looking right here, we can see that in this session, the bulk of volume kind of took off above point of control, and it went and established new value. And that new value became the new point of control for the next session, which was this right here. So it kind of helps to have the volume profile and the market profile next to each other this way, or back to back, so you can kind of see what price does in the new session in relation to this, what price did in the last session in relation to each other. Okay, so if this is one session here, this is showing the previous day's market profile, the previous day's point of control, and you can see we drop back down into the day before's point of control. That happens all the time. Okay, so I was looking at Bookmap, and this is where it gets kind of fun. Here in Bookmap, I set it up similar. So we have CQC is the current quote counter, and CVP is the current volume profile. Looking at this, I want to change this to trades counter, and let's just configure this. One thing that's cool, you can add the numbers in, so you can actually see the, in this case, this is the lots. You can see 884 lots traded right here by this point. I'm going to just leave it on bars for now. Okay, so I have the current trades counter. This is the number of trades that have just happened. So what that kind of gives me is the developing market profile. So over here, we've got the static market profile. Oops, get rid of that. So this is yesterday's market profile. This already happened. Looking at Bookmap, this is today's market profile as it's happening in real time. So you can see this line right here would be our new developing point of control. This is the dynamic point of control that's moving. Could be moving away or towards our previous point of control. Okay, looking at the volume, we've also got a volume profile here, and the volume also has its volume point of control. Now, when the day started, I have 401 marked as the developing volume point of control. Okay, so that's moved. That's now moved down here. And, oftentimes you'll see the point of control and the volume point of control can be roughly equal. Sometimes the volume will happen a little bit higher or lower, and vice versa. But you can see they're happening right around here in this area. And then, so these are the trades that have happened. These are the trades that have just happened based on my chart, whatever time frame I'm looking at. It looks like I might be looking at an hour over here. Now over here in the quotes counter, these are the current quotes that are getting ready to go through. So you can see there's a lot of quotes queued up right here, right at the market profile, the developing point of control, and right at the volume point of control. Okay, so this is a real heavy area of trading. And then you can see right here, we're starting to get this low volume area. Price likes to jump these. The old timers like Jesse Livermore, they used to call this jumping the creek. So if we start to get a bunch more of demand up here, or if price starts to move up, it's going to move through this low volume area pretty quickly. But that's not what's happening right now. So I do look for these hourglass situations, and a lot of times that'll tell me if price does start to move up, the next interesting area would be this area right here. And you can see that roughly corresponds to S3. So sometimes when price bounces off S4, it will cook right back up to S3. So if that were to happen, it would not surprise me to see this jump. But we're in a downtrend today. Everything is going down. So I'm really interested in what's happening down here. So I'll just move this in. And let's see if we can open this up a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so I opened up my time frame a little bit more here, and you can see now we're getting this kind of upside down Christmas tree looking shape. You can see there was the developing volume point of control and the developing market profile all corresponded to this hill here. And so this to me represents supply, and this down here represents demand. You can see demand was smaller than supply, so price came down to meet it. And the same thing happened again. We're getting a new area of interest down here that is forming another developing volume point of control, another developing point of control in the market sense. And you can see supply was bigger, demand was smaller, supply was bigger, demand was smaller. And then right here, supply is bigger than this and demand is smaller. So price is currently in a downtrend. It's heading this way. And yeah, so that's how I use Bookmap to mimic sort of the money zone market profile, volume profile, and to get an idea of where it's headed. And then I like to pair these with the pivots. So right here, you can see this heavy point of control right here also corresponded to VWAP. So there's a lot of action happening right here, and it just so happens to be the developing value area low. So no surprise there. So that's 398.20. So if I go back to TradingView and let's just look at today. I believe this is today. What did we say? 398.20. 398.20 was my value area low. And I'm just going to change that to orange. And you can see, yes, indeed, that was the developing value area right here. Sure enough, this is what it looked like on Bookmap. You can see there's not much interest there after it happened. It moved through it, but this was a pretty important area in the beginning. And then I'm just going to go back over here and show you, if I add in the pivots, we should be getting pretty close to S4. And sure enough, there's S4. It looks like we may have just hit it, or we are about to. So S4 for me is not really an entry. Where I would enter this trade, and where I did actually get into it earlier, would be value area high or point of control, developing point of control here based on the session volume. I would get in this trade around S2, and my first target would be S3, and then if S3 broke, which it did, my next target would be S4. S3 to S4 is a really good, consistent move. Doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's pretty consistent. But because we're already here at S4, I personally wouldn't enter this trade right now unless I was feeling really risky. But you can see how these concepts played out. And just looking over here at the previous session, looks like value area low and the previous S1 ended up being today's kind of point of control. And so that was the pivot point that we kind of dropped off from and got down into this area. All right, guys, thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and get into your bookmap settings and check things out. One more thing before I go, I just want to throw this in here. I like to add the numbers in so you can kind of get a sense of how many trades are happening. So on the trade counter here, these are lot sizes. On the volume counter here, these are the actual number of shares being traded, or the number of shares that were traded at this level. Same thing with the quote counter. I like to throw in the numbers on that as well. And then over here in the market depth, you can add those in. So these are just some cool tips and tricks for using Bookmap. Also, if you have Bookmap and you're trying to find the notes, these don't come stock. You have to dig for them. So I'm just going to right click on insert column, and I'm going to, let's see, should give me a configure column. Okay, configure column. You have to go over here to the plus sign as if you're adding a new column. And then right here you would type in notes, and then there's a scroll down menu with a right slider bar here. And way down here, custom notes. That's how you would add that to your Bookmap settings. This helps a lot if you want to add in you know, pivot points and whatnot to watch. You can see I have S3, S5, VPOC, things like that. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Another shout out to my Bear Bull Traders group, and hope to see you guys out there. Keep it green.